morning, children. In the first part of this chapter, that is Tribals, Dakus and the Vision of a Golden Age, we studied about tribals. We also studied about the Daikus, who were known as the Dakus. They were referred as the outsiders who came from outside the country and left control over the people of that particular region. Then we studied what happened when the colonial power came to India. How did they affect the tribal life? So these all were studied, and we also studied the life of a tribal people. What did they do? They did cultivation, shifting cultivation, June farming. They were herders, they were gatherers, they hunted and collected the food, and they lived a happy and peaceful life. So we studied all these things. Then suddenly there came a drastic change in their life. What were the changes? And why did it come? The changes came when the colonial power, that is the Britishers, they came to India and they tried to establish their control over the movement of these tribal people, and they enacted many types of laws and even put restrictions on their movement. So today, this is the last part of the chapter. We are going to study about the different laws imposed by the Britishers on the tribal people and how the tribals reacted to those laws and how they overcome upon these laws. So this we are going to study today. So children, I was talking about the various laws which were imposed on the tribal people by the Britishers, and they were forced to follow these laws, and if they went against these laws, they were punished by the Britishers. So the Britishers made several forest laws. So we'll go through it, what were forest laws and their effect. So forest laws, children, as the name suggests, they were the laws imposed on these tribal people over all forests and declared that the forests were state property. Some forests, they were classified as reserve forests, which was used to produce timber which the British wanted, and all the tribals, they were not allowed to go through these forests as they were the reserved ones. The colonial officials allowed some land for hemp cultivation, that they would provide labor for the forest department for looking after forests. So they appointed the officials to take care of the forest, and everybody, that is not every tribal people, they were allowed to enter the forest. So what was the impact of it? The impact was many tribal groups, they reacted against these laws. They disobeyed the new laws, continued with the practices that were declared illegal, and such was the revolt of Songram Sangam of 1906 in Assam. Many people, for example, like money lenders, traders, for purchasing raw goods and lending money. These traders, children, they made huge profits, but only a meager amount reached the producers, as most of the profit or much of the profit that were given to the Britishers. And the condition of people who went to towns for work was also not better. They were paid low wages and prevented them from returning home. So once they went to the towns for work, they were not allowed to return back to their homes. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, children, tribals, they rebelled. They revolted against these forest laws made by the Britishers. The Kolas revolt. So these were the few revolts which I am going to tell you right now. You should note down and remember it. First was the Kolas rebelled in 1831-32. Santhal rose in revolt in 1855. The Bastar rebellion in central India broke out in the year 1910. Warli revolt in Maharashtra on 1940. So children, this was the condition of the tribal people. Then came Birsa Munda. He was a tribal who lived in Chota Nagpur. He was an immortal legacy, and he himself believed, and even the tribals, even the people believed that he has come over there so that the people may get rid of all the problems and sufferings which they were facing due to the colonial power. So in 1895, Birsa urged his followers to recover the past glory. He forced his followers that now the time has come to recover the past glory, a golden age where the tribals had their heads high. So he said now the time should come back, the golden time should come back when the tribals, they lived with their heads high. He talked of a golden past where Mundas led a good life. Children, Mundas, it is a name of a tribal people, and Birsa Munda, he was one of the Mundas. He talked of a time period where the Mundas, they led a good life. They constructed their embankments, tapped natural springs, planted trees and orchards, practiced cultivation to earn their living, which means that they lived a very happy and glorious life. But due to the Britishers, their life was ruined, completely ruined. As the movement spread, the British officials, they decided to act. They arrested Birsa in the year 1895, convicted him, charged him, and punished him on charges of writing and jailed him for 2 years. So he was put into jail for 2 years. And when Birsa was released in the year 1897, he began to gather support against the Britishers by using traditional, that is old methods. They attacked police stations and churches and raided the property of money lenders and zamindars. They raised the white flag as a symbol of Birsa Raj. So finally in 1900, Birsa Munda died of cholera and the movement faded out. This is a picture of Birsa Munda. Now, significance of the movement of Birsa Munda. So what was the significance? What was the importance of the movement which was led by Birsa Munda? It showed that the tribals could protest against injustice and express their dissatisfaction over the colonial rule. It introduced laws so that the government could not take away the land of the tribals. That's all, children, for today. go through the chapter, read all the detail about Birsa Munda, and also note down the different revolts by the different tribal people against the colonial power. So, read the chapter as it is very important, go through it and try to understand.